Welcome to the THRIVERY Podcast, the show that explores elevated living. I'm your host, Jacy and Smith, and in this community, we engage in conversations to inspire you to flourish in all aspects of your life, because you weren't created to merely survive. You were designed to thrive. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the THRIVERY Podcast. It's so good to be with you again today. I am so excited about this episode. Let me tell you what, I have really good friends. Last episode, you got to meet one of them, and I can't wait for you to meet my friend today. She is precious to me. We've known each other over a decade, and I just love her. And I know you're going to love her too. And let me tell you a little bit about her before we get started. She is a PATH certified therapeutic riding instructor and equine specialist in mental health and learning. And she is the owner and founder and runs Grace Reins Equine Therapy in Telluride, Colorado, which is, by the way, my favorite place in Colorado. I need to get back there. But everyone give a warm welcome to the beautiful and the lovely Erin Cain. Friend, how are you?
My love. Oh, so well. And thank you so much for having me on your incredible platform as you continue to grow this beautiful offering now in your podcast version is just so incredible. I just love that you're reaching more people and we need it. We need you. Thank you.
Thank you, love. Thank you. Thank you for being on today. And you know what? You were actually a part of THRIVERY's first retreat experience last year called Ascend.
Yes.
You graced us with your beauty and your presence and your knowledge and your love. You exude love. I think anyone that knows you would just know, like, I just feel immediately, you just feel so close. You have this gift of making everyone feel seen and known and special, and you just bring them close. It's so quick. I don't know how you do it, but it actually is how we met. I would love to talk about that because what a unique and special moment. I will never forget it.
Yes.
So I think this was the first trip I had to Telluride, probably. But anyway, I believe it was an art exhibit at the saloon, maybe. Do you remember?
That's
okay.
Correct.
Okay. And I was just walking out of the door. I was leaving and you came over and you said, wait, before you leave, I just want to know who you are. And I want to introduce myself to you. And I mean, it felt like a jolt of electricity. That's just, you're one of the brightest stars there is in the sky. And I was immediately taken by you and you just light up the room. And there was this beautiful exchange. I will never forget it. And instantly, I believe like we became friends instantly. It just never ended and it's continued all of these years. But you were so intentional to stop me at the door before I left. And you shared someone very beautiful, like something really personal to you and intimate, like out of the gate. I don't know how, why, but I felt so honored that you would share it with me. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about it, but I always want to give you the opportunity to honor this special person in your life.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I can remember it like it was yesterday. On Main Street in Telluride, and the old Sheridan Saloon was having a show of shorts. I think it was a film, part of the film festival, even, I think.
Right.
But I remember seeing you. I was outside of the saloon, and I remember seeing you just illuminated, just this sort of light on this being. And I was just drawn to you. And I've tried long ago to not hesitate to react to those signs from above, and I did. I came over to you, and I wanted to know you. I don't think I'd been living here that long. I think my son and I had just relocated with this new life, and so I was like very even more heightened to the gifts and the signs that were coming to us. And you were definitely one of those very powerfully. And I gave you my brother's prayer card. I lost my brother George on 9/11. He was a New York City firefighter, but he had lived in Telluride years before, and he moved out here out of high school to this amazing place. And so it is so special to me in so many ways. And when all of that collides, being here, having him with me, and being able to share him when that feels right, when I feel that little tap to go see this person who's illuminated on the streets of Telluride. Just go to her. Yes, I was not. It never steered me wrong. This is just an example of how beautiful and how life changes in an instant. Having met you is still uncovering itself, right? Over the years had many interactions and been there for each other and sometimes in just a spiritual and a heart way, because we live far away from each other, but we've never been untethered from that moment that we are brought back together time and time again.
Yes.
And just incredible. And to be now at this stage of our relationship, and there's no denying it. This is all just incredibly purposeful and beautiful and just beyond blessing that I could imagine being worthy of.
Oh my goodness, friend. I feel the same about you. It's something that just keeps unfolding, and it just grows. It's blossoming. There's just new things that I learn about you even today that I'm just like, oh my goodness, I love her even more. It's been such a pleasure to get to know you and to continue getting to know you. And you're right. We are, long distance, but it doesn't feel that way at all. And I love that we can just jump right back in and we don't miss a beat. And we've shared a lot of highs and lows together. And it's just really beautiful to see a friendship kind of go through all of it.
Yes.
And it's very unique and it's very special. And I treasure you.
Yes, same.
I treasure you. And I want to talk about you. And you're so humble. This is probably just going to be very difficult for you, but I want this to be about you and what you do, because what you do is remarkable. Of course, you have a background that in a different industry, but I want to focus on what you've been doing there in Telluride for a while now, which is absolutely incredible. And I want to read this so I get the actual title right of who you are in this industry. But you are a PATH certified therapeutic riding instructor, an equine specialist in mental health and learning. That's a mouthful, and you're that and more. You're that and a whole lot more. But can you tell the listeners who may not know what all of that means? Tell us, what is Grace Reins Equine Therapy, and what is this that you do?
Well, thank you. I will continue to learn and grow and be humble. I love that. When you made reference to, if you don't mind me just pulling this
Absolutely. Yes.
What we have been through in our lives and our highs and lows, just like everybody else. I just read also, I think when we were on the phone the other day, from my friend, Ruthie Lindsay's website. She wrote this line that said, knowledge is just a rumor until into your muscle. And for me, that's the heart muscle. It's just the embodiment of, we can go to school and we can learn things, and that's all great and valuable. And when you are a teacher or have a platform where you're helping people to actually embody the experiences and to actually know them deeply, is so much more powerful and much more helpful, I believe, because you're coming from a place of experience as well as understanding and empathy and all is that's required when we come together and when we can really each other and lift each other up. So having said that, it's great to have my credentials because I need them for my program and my insurance and my
Yes.
but I love the just ever learning, ever unfolding. My horses teach me, my clients teach me, my friends, my family. We all have so much to share and impart on one another. So I just feel so honored to be able to do this work.
So special. And who does this benefit? I know that maybe people have heard of equine therapy but they're not too familiar with it. Who does this benefit? Who can this help? And why horses?
Yes. Oh, I love that question. All good questions. Really anyone can benefit from being around animals. A lot of people don't know exactly what equine therapy is, but it's getting more traction. More people are understanding what it is. But if you even think about pet therapy or animal therapy, being around a dog or being around a cat or an animal that people know, most people can relate to that. Like they love to get home at the end of the day and have their dogs or their cat or whatever. Just cuddle up to them. Animals are non-judgmental. They really don't require much from us. They're never mad at us. They're never, they don't hold grudges or anything.
Right.
Very relationship that we have. And with the horses, it's a whole other level of, well, first of all of our horses are rescued, adopted wild Mustangs. So they also come from a place of, I say also come from because when people are seeking out therapies, they're usually in a crisis or something is changing in their lives or they're struggling. And so they're coming for some therapeutic modality to help them. And when I explain to them where the Mustangs have come from and what has occurred in their lives, which has been very traumatic and a very difficult road for them, they've all been rounded up from the wild, from their lives in the wild, and oftentimes separated from their families and just gone through a very difficult road to get to us. And by the time we get them and we want them to decompress and sort of gentle them, we really take our time with acclimating them to where they're living now and helping them to understand that they're safe with us. And that's a very relatable thing for people to come into that space and to know that story about the Mustangs and to see how they have flourished and thrived. They have thrived.
Yes.
They end up, their story is a story of thrivery also, because you see them now at this point in their journey and their hearts are trusting again. They're willing again. They have not shut down and their lives weren't over because of what they went through. They have another opportunity. And in fact, they're thriving. And that is a beautiful metaphor for people. And it just gives people hope.
Yes.
Such a beautiful story. And not to mention all the things that people can build on and work on while they're working with the horses. Their individual story comes into play, of course, and they have an opportunity to explore things in a way that is not, it's just very different from a talk therapy or a different kind of modality. They're in a space where they are, again, it's non-judgment. The horses, they don't care what they did or what they're ashamed of or what they drive or who they know, or it's just that it's like they're showing up and it's just about them and who they are. And that's very unique experience. Where else in our lives do we really get to do that? Right. There's always like layers of things that we have to work through in the world, in our everyday lives, at work, with our families, with ourselves.
Yes.
that very important relationship, so it really affords an opportunity for growth, for introspection, for healing.
So beautiful. And I know this personally because I used to be terrified of horses, and I was always intrigued by them, but it was daunting for me. They're just these large animals, and I just didn't know how to feel around them. And I guess almost 2 decades ago, I did a program, and it was equine therapy. And it was this beautiful experience where you started off and you just brush their mane and you kind of get comfortable with them and they get comfortable with you. And anyway, by the end of it, it's incredible how intuitive they are, perceptive they are. They can feel so much from you, and they're so gentle with you. Anyway, since that moment, it doesn't matter where I go in the world. There are two things that I want to do when I travel. If I can ride a horse, I want to ride a horse and be with a horse, spend time with the horse, and I want to go to the spa. So there you go. But I just think it's so interesting. I've heard you talk about the size of their hearts, and just, can you talk a little bit about that? Because that is so intriguing and interesting to me.
Yes, I know. I'm not very sciencey, but I love, sometimes the science of our emotions is very powerful for people to understand. And I've loved to explore that. So we have this electromagnetic field that our hearts put out, our hearts, everyone with a heart. And the horses have, their electromagnetic field from their hearts is 5 times what ours is. So when we are moving about in our lives, ours is about 3 feet around us. And sometimes you feel that. And obviously we felt that with each other.
Yes.
And so there's often things that we can check in with ourselves about, when we sense like, oh, that person is kind of a little off, or, oh, that person has such a light. Like, those are things that we can really recognize in our day-to-day lives if we want to tune into that.
Right.
And if you're given the opportunity or in the space with the horse, to think about the fact that their field of love, their heart space, is 5 times ours. So that's just a tremendously loving, healing, beautiful space for us to be in with them.
Absolutely.
Yes. While simultaneously, what we often talk about the therapy is how we can regulate our heart rates. We can regulate our nervous systems in general, but the horse's heart rate is half of ours. Even though they're 10 times our size, their heartbeat beats half the amount of times ours does. So just knowing that when you're in that space with them, and you start to kind of relax yourself, like we worked on that when we were in Montana. Yes. At Jacy's beautiful retreat, just lowering your shoulders and allowing yourself to slow down, right? We don't often have the opportunity to do that. And it really works. You can absolutely lower your heart rate. You can, try to sync up as best we can. We're not going to be half of our heart rates, but certainly can lower our heart rates and get into a more relaxed state in the company of these magnificent creatures.
And that they are. In October 2023, amidst the breathtaking Montana mountains, a THRIVERY experience emerged, giving life to its inaugural retreat, Ascend. Surpassing all expectations, this transformative event brought together over a dozen women in an immersive experience that left them empowered to uncover the visions and dreams that echoed in their hearts. Ascend transcended the typical retreat experience. It evolved into a shared odyssey of self-discovery, where every woman discovered a supportive sisterhood dedicated to the pursuit of an elevated life. The memories forged during Ascend will be cherished as an endearing chapter in Thrivery, and we're doing it again this year. I'm thrilled to announce the upcoming Thrivery experience for 2024, Innermost. It will unfold at the award-winning property Canyon Ranch, nestled in the tranquil Sonoran Desert of Tucson, Arizona, on September 20th through the 22nd. For more information and to save your spot, visit thrivery.store. Actually, what I learned after, getting over the initial being afraid of them, I didn't realize this, but as a child, I was a runner. So I would run and
Yes.
it would make me feel better. And then, I don't know, it was just this weird thing. And then as I grew up, I was a drummer and I just enjoyed doing that. And I was drawn to that as well. And then riding a horse, I just felt such peace when I was on the back of a horse, riding a horse. And years later into therapy, doing a certain modality there, I realized, and I know you and I have talked about this, but it's this whole brain body thing too. It's a bilateral movement. So all of those things require both sides of your body and
Yeah.
how it relates to your brain and these synapses and it's so fascinating to me how I didn't know that, but I was drawn to those things and I found peace and I found healing in those ways. And it's just so interesting that as we're talking about just the beauty of horses and how they heal, I found that to be true for myself. So, and even at the retreat, do you remember how there were some ladies there that weren't so sure? They had never been around horses in their lives. And I'm telling you, they're the ones that these horses just gravitated towards. And it was so beautiful. Can you please tell them what happened? I don't remember the name of that sweet horse at the end, but what he did.
Oh, that was yes. And I don't want to forget to speak about what you said, which is to make me cry because you didn't know. It's okay if I cry. By the way,
we always cry. It's okay.
And this is true for all of us. You didn't know what it was when you were running and drumming and riding, but you did know. Your intuition knew.
Yeah.
And this is a beautiful thing for people to be I don't know if the word educated on, but just to be able to explore in themselves, because you do know, you just have to be allowed to explore these things and to uncover them and to recognize them, to identify them, because you do know, right? People say, oh, I'm so dumb, or I don't know, what, and that's not true. We just have to help each other. Everything is there for us. We just have to help each other. But that was such a cool way that you shared that part of yourself, Jacy, and I didn't want to forget to,
oh, that's great.
I want, so, if one person or two, whoever, gets to take pieces of your podcast and your platform and your heart and what you share, I think that is a big thing for people to just, it's exciting for them to think about that. Like, oh, okay, I want to explore that within myself. I want to think about things that have actually made me feel good, but I don't remember what they are. I didn't keep doing that. I want to go back to that. So anyway, I just want to make a point of that.
I'm so glad you did.
Jump to that. So yes. So the beautiful thing with your group and your retreat, oh my gosh, it was just, it was just so incredible. I feel like there's times that I still process pieces of that experience because it was so organically powerful and just led so beautifully. And everyone was so willing and wanting to experience that. And the women that were hesitant and were afraid of horses, which is very common. I mean, they are really big animals. So I find that I don't discourage people with their quote unquote fears necessarily, because I think that it is, it's important to recognize that, we have to kind of keep ourselves, they are big animals. So there are safety things around that. But I also, when I share with people that the horses don't mind that you're afraid of them, there's some sort of like old wives' tale or whatever the expression is nowadays, that people think, oh, that horse is going to know that I'm afraid of it and it's not going to like me, or it's going to take advantage of me, or it's going to, and of course that's not true, because they're not human. They're actually better than
right.
that motivation. They're not like out to get you. So the truth is that they just, what gives them pause or triggers them is when someone is inauthentic. So if somebody is genuinely afraid of the horses, but they're trying to pretend they're not, because they're, because we're taught our whole lives, like your ego, like you just go in there and just show them who's boss, or go in there and like be all tough and strong. But we don't have to be that way. And we definitely don't have to be that way with the horses, because they do accept you as you are. And that is often such a relief for people. They think, oh my gosh, I never thought about that it's the inauthenticity that they will respond to, that will, just like we would, just like interacting with each other. You're meeting someone, you're talking to someone, you're thinking, there's something something gives me pause with this person, or something, because that's our instinct. That's the truth. So they, pure instinct, they're just, purely interacting with you. There's not all the layers, as I said, that we have between us as humans. So that experience with these women at your retreat, Jacy, oh my gosh, there was that big, huge draft horse, and we all joined hands in a circle, and these women had been kind of down regulating and working on their fears. Bless them. They were so brave and so amazing, encouraged to be, oh my gosh, it was so awesome, putting their hands on the horses and all of their fears, and they just, this whole energy was around us all. And this horse just stepped so gently and so slowly into the circle. I mean, he literally moved these two women's hands apart in the most gentle manner. It's almost hard to believe. If we didn't have it on tape, I bet we'd all think, I know. And did that actually happen? Did that
really happen? It did.
All the middle of the circle, and just stood there. I mean, it is the most remarkable thing. It
What
really
do you
is.
think that meant? What do you think that meant for a horse?
Gosh, we are so we're anthropomorphizing all the time, and then I think that the Holy Spirit, like there's so many things that are humbling, and you just think, I don't even know.
Right.
It's bigger than all of us. Of course it was love. Of course it was some communion and some just enormous, powerful energy of love and safety and acceptance. I mean, they are the prey, like they are the ones, we're the prey animals. Like they're the ones that are like, you know, in danger basically around, like, but for this horse to just do what he did, stand in that space in his most relaxed posture and down regulated, and all of us were in that same space with him.
We
It's
were.
just
It was. It
beyond.
was beautiful. And we were so blessed by you. You were such a gift to us to come in and share that whole experience with us and guide us so beautifully. I'm just so grateful that you were there and that we had that experience. And for the listeners, if you want to see a little snippet of it, you can go on the website, because if you look at the new retreat, the promo video, you'll see little snippets of it. I don't know if we got that guy in the circle, but anyway, you'll get to see Erin doing all of the things that she does best. And it was just so much fun to have you there. And I have to say this because I'm just staring at you and you're just stunningly beautiful. And I've always admired your hats. You're the coolest cowgirl that I know. You really are. I want to be a cowgirl. I'm from Texas, and you would think that I could pull it off, but I can't. You can see that on the website too. Like we're all wearing our Montana best, and you can look at all of the women and you can be like, yeah, that's the real one right there. You're the real one. It
Oh,
just fits naturally on you.
and the funny thing, listeners, by the way, I'm from Long Island.
Is that right?
I grew up in New York, and people just don't even believe that. Honestly, like longtime friends of mine, they go, "Oh, I forgot." I
Uh-huh.
forget. And it's, whatever is in your heart and your spirit. I just always felt like a little cowgirl when I was a little girl. I don't know why. Who knows why?
And that's where
It's
your love of the horses came, right? But you didn't have access to them as a young girl. It kind of came later, right?
absolutely, yes. I just had, our dad was a fireman, and we were, blue collar, like I don't know. Sometimes you don't know where your dreams come from, but that's okay. You don't have to know. But in your heart. I had horse posters, horse books, anything horse. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was just horse crazy my whole life. And so having them now and having this life, and it's incredible. You just can't believe that. Yeah, hold on to your dreams. That's for sure.
Absolutely. It's so, you know what? Thriving looks really good on you. It
Oh,
looks really good on you.
yes.
Just to see you in this place in life and doing the things that you're just passionate about. I mean, you exude joy, you exude love, and I'm just wowed by you. I'm in awe of what you do there. And can I please come visit? It's time. It's time I need to come see you. It's been a while.
I can't wait. Tell me again, you say that you're not just made to survive, you're made to thrive, right?
That's
That's the
right.
thing?
And I want to know, by the way, can you tell me what that means for you, or what is an elevated life? Elevated living or thriving? What does that mean? I want to ask all of my guests.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's one of the things I try to share and I try to explore with my clients, right? Like, and if we're living it and we're modeling it, right? It just helps people to believe that they too can have that. So like my story with, just dreaming of having horses and dreaming of having, now that I have them, to be able to facilitate others healing, and that is something that I'll never, like I'm going to continue to grow in that space, continue to learn, expand my program, and thriving. and elevating looks like me bringing my best self to that space, like me bringing my best self, always striving to uncover something else and to be able to impart something else, and just continue to grow in every way possible. And that, in my vision, is just expanding out as I grow. My electromagnetic field, my outreach, and how I can help and touch the world grows with me.
I love that. It's beautiful, and you're beautiful. Anyone that knows you knows that you're a gift. You're an absolute treasure. Thank you for sharing your essence and your beauty and your light with the world.
Thank you. It's a privilege. And it's also, okay, I just did the other segment that I did the other day that I was speaking about, that we, it's also okay to not feel amazing every day and amazing every minute of every day. Like, I think sometimes when we're in this space, people think, well, I can't be like, that's not how I am, or it's not who I am. And, I struggle with this, or I suffer from that. That's okay too. Of course, believe me, Jacy and I have our, we have our journey, and
yes,
it's the beauty of life is to be able to nurture those days, nurture those moments, be authentic. If your authentic self is not feeling it someday, like, that's okay. We're like that too. Like, it's important for me to make sure that people know, just because we are in this space and do what we do, like, we're just people too, and we're with you on all the whole journey. We're with you.
Thank you for mentioning that. You and I were talking the other day, and you brought up something similar, just about how if we only knew, we could really get to the truth, the authentic, true us, who we really are. I thought it was so beautiful. Can you just give us a little snippet? I know that we're almost at the end of our time, but I would love to hear just a sound bite of that.
Well, that's sometimes what is frustrating for us, and what sort of keeps us in an off place in our lives, because we are not really in touch with our essence. We're raising families and we're working, and we don't really have the opportunity to sit in a room and think, what would I like to be? Or what is it that I used to be like that I want to remember? Right. But you can take your time with it. But if you plant that seed, that's something that you want to think about more, you want to remember that person, you can get there, and it will be such an exploration of opportunity and adventure and excitement. Just that curiosity changes your brain chemistry. There's a whole science to that I won't go there. I'm not a scientist, but I study things, and I know things because I've experienced them. Like, when you're down and you have this glimmer of a thought, and it makes sense because everybody has an essence, everybody has that magical little place inside of themselves. It reminds me, I think you and I talked about this, that Maya Angelou said that pure, pristine place inside of all of us is never, ever tainted. No one can ever touch that. That is always there for us and only us. That is our pristine place. So when people feel ashamed and people feel they've been just beat up and used up and there's nothing good left of them, that is not true. That is never, ever.
I call that your spirit.
Yes, that's right. And it's there waiting for you. It's there, and it's pure and pristine,
untainted. You're right. It's this beautiful, intact, beautiful, pure, perfect part.
Yep.
I love that. I talk about that a lot of times too, like spirit, soul, body, and how it's so important that they're in that alignment, because soul is mind, will, emotions are housed there. And there's some good and there's some bad in there, but your spirit, it's just perfect. It's all good. And sometimes the soul is like a 2-year-old who wants to be first and they just wants to get ahead. But if we're aware, we always want to be aware and make sure that we're leading with our spirit, that our spirit's leading us, and then soul, and then body. We don't even have to talk about body leading us. That would just be a train wreck, but anyway, I love that you said that. And I love that you said the remembering. I talk about that a lot in the community, is sometimes we just need to remember together. We just need to remember who we are. That's simple, because we've forgotten. We've gotten too far off. We've created narratives, or we've aligned with narratives that are not true. And now we're living from those things, which is honestly what this year's retreat is about. It's innermost. It's like, what is it when you get to the very core of you? What do you find past the narratives that you've been told, or the things that you've believed, or what's there? I just think it's a beautiful exploration. It's going to be so fun to be on that journey with women. But I love that you said that. And can I just end with a quote that I found on your website that totally puts a bow on this perfectly? I'm going to read it. It's beautiful. I love it. It says, "If you could, what would you tell your younger self? You're enough as you are. Don't worry. Love yourself and others," said the horse. Of course. I love it.
Yes.
And I love you.
I love you. Oh my gosh.
Love you so much. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for joining us. I know the listeners are going to want to know how to find out more about you and Grace Reins and all that you're doing there in Telluride. Whatever you want to share with them, feel free. What would you like them to know? Do you have any final words and anything you want to share with them as far as how they can get in touch with you?
Oh gosh, it's fine. Well, my gracereins.org is my website, and that has my contact information. And I love people just reach out, and I schedule calls, and we just kind of connect and see what compelled them to reach out and how we can come together. And it's always a privilege to have that ping in my email box or on my phone. So my contact number is on my website too. So I'd be happy to hear from anybody, or if somebody wants to know more about this, I can just, email you information to understand more about what equine therapy offers, and wild Mustang education. And yes.
I would love to talk more at some point about those beauties that you have as well. But I know that we have to go now. I love you. Thank you for being on today.
To my friend, and love to everyone. Give up on yourself, because we're cheering you on.
Yes, we are. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It's been a pleasure to spend another episode with you. I hope you've enjoyed this time together and you've taken away some gems. I know that you have, and we'll see you very soon. Thank you for joining us on the THRIVERY Podcast. I hope this discussion inspired you in your pursuit of elevated living. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow us, click the share button and send to friends, and also tag us in your socials. For more information and to stay connected, visit our website at thrivery.life. Thanks again for joining, and we'll see you next time. In October 2023, amidst the breathtaking Montana mountains, a THRIVERY experience emerged, giving life to its inaugural retreat, Ascend. Surpassing all expectations, this transformative event brought together over a dozen women in an immersive experience that left them empowered to uncover the visions and dreams that echoed in their hearts. transcended the typical retreat experience. It evolved into a shared odyssey of self-discovery, where every woman discovered a supportive sisterhood dedicated to the pursuit of an elevated life. The memories forged during Ascend will be cherished as an endearing chapter in Thrivery, and we're doing it again this year. I'm thrilled to announce the upcoming Thrivery experience for 2024, Innermost. It will unfold at the award-winning property Canyon Ranch, nestled in the tranquil Sonoran Desert of Tucson, Arizona, on September 20th through the 22nd. For more information and to save your spot, visit thrivery.store.